everyone, and welcome to Real Talk, where it gets hot, spicy, and to the drama. Today we have Luke Charles Stafford, the star of Accidental Surrogate for Alpha. Oh my gosh. Okay, so do you go everywhere on this contraption? Like, tell me about it.
Contraption's name is Roxanne.
Okay.
Okay, I've had her for 6 years. No, having a motorcycle was always a dream of mine as a little squirt. And so I had to get one, and I promised myself I'd get it in my 20s. So I do have a car, but I have had times in my life where I was struggling really bad financially over the last 6 years, and a car would break down that I had, you know. I think there was twice over the last 6 years I would be full-time on the bike for maybe, I think one time a whole year I was on the bike full-time.
Well, isn't it kind of even better to have that? Because, okay, for instance, today for me to get here, it took me over an hour and a half. And I mean, you can just cut all of that, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, you can, like if something is an hour, you can get there in 30 minutes, 100%.
So it's kind of better.
Yeah, but you have to ride, for all the kids out there who want to ride a motorcycle, you have to ride as if everyone is out to kill you. You just have to. It's a good little tactic. So
it's like fast, like, does that mean speed, agility, or like, or you're just like so laser focused on that?
So for all the little kids out there, or maybe you want to have a motorcycle, you have to ride. A good safety tactic is ride as if everyone is out to kill you.
Oh,
right. It's just, it makes sure that you ride with extreme safety.
So with being a motorcycle rider, if you see another motorcycle rider, is it kind of like, ayo, like, okay, I respect you in a way?
That's a really good question. Actually, there's a code.
Oh.
So if you respect, which, I'm from Indiana, I'm from small town, like how you treat people is everything.
Okay.
And so even if I don't like the bike or whatever, I still show, but it's a peace sign.
Oh.
45-degree angle down.
Oh, so it's this?
It's a little code between every biker. It's basically saying, respect.
Respect. Okay.
Yeah.
But is this like F
you don't know what you're doing.
Okay.
There's only
Okay.
It's so simple. There's only one thing, and so but I got to tell you, it's just the coolest thing. You'll be in your helmet because in LA we have to have a helmet, right? And you'll kind of see this thing, even if it's a black visor or you can see their eyes, whatever. It's straight out of a movie. It feels like you see each other.
Yeah.
And you just get.
It's almost
zoom
giving
away.
like that when you're like.
Yeah. The lower peace sign. Also, too, just watch bikers if you're out there, because you'll see them riding along, and especially if they're coming this way against each other, you'll just see a sign of respect.
Nice.
Right. Now, there's times where it's like you need both hands for the moment you're in, right? And so then it'll just be a nice head nod down.
Okay.
And every biker kind of understands that that's because the hands aren't free.
Sure.
But this is kind of code.
Nice.
Right.
Nice. Cool.
Fun fact.
I love that. So now we all know means you're a cool biker person.
Oh, yeah. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've done it in a car on accident where I'm driving and I'll go, and the guy will kind of.
He's like, what is that? What are you doing down there?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Anyway.
So tell me, you said you were from Indiana.
Right.
So what was that like growing up there?
I hold it very near and dear to my heart. Some of the most salt of the earth people. You couldn't pursue this there, obviously. But I hold it so near and dear to my heart because, I grew up around some really incredible men, guys, who kind of instilled and bestowed this Indiana backbone of what it means to be a good man. I know I'm going the whole philosophical route, but it's the honest truth.
Yeah.
And I've held on to that like white on rice. Like I just can't let it go. And so Indiana's a great part of me that has kind of resembled that for me. And out there, and if you're from the Midwest or you know the Midwest, every place has its pros and cons, of course, like better gas prices out there.
Oh, yeah.
But the people, growing up, it was about the greatest choice you could make is what kind of man you choose to become. How you treat people is everything. You'll take that to your grave. How you made people feel, how you respected people. So then as a result, Indiana was this place where all of our choices that might be the same, like pursuing a career, pursuing wealth, things that we're all doing everywhere or trying to do, especially in the States, has this overarching thing where at the substratum of it is like to do good for others.
Mm.
So that's, and for some reason, like that in my mind, my psyche is labeled in like a faith-based Indiana core.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just how the people were and are. And I also got lucky, the kind of men I grew up around. But I catch that popping out of me all the time. Like I'll say something or do something and I'll think, yeah, there it is. You know?
Yeah, like the Indiana is like coming out.
100%. Like right now, the way that I've, the only thing that matters right now is this conversation with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I make mistakes and all the time, like everybody. So, you know, but it's how can I service my servant leadership, you know, and all that stuff. So that's very Indiana to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I would label that as, but you don't need to be from the Midwest to do good.
Right.
But that's just kind of a big part of my heart when it comes to the Midwest.
Right.
If that makes sense.
For sure.
Right?
I feel like that is something that is almost, I don't know if it's like, you know, we live in LA now, and we're in such a crazy industry. If it's like, you have to work so hard to be on set, to become an actor, to become a musician, whatever your creative niche is.
Of course.
And it's
absolutely.
almost like that gets a little bit lost, especially, you know, even like dating nowadays. It's like chivalry's kind of not there as much. And it's nice for me to hear that you have that. And it's almost like that's something, such a small, like an important detail to instill in, you know, the future of children and things. And it's like, I feel like it's almost not that around that much anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it's to me, I think if we've lost that, we've lost a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
What good is it to have to gain the whole world but lose your soul?
Right.
And you know, if massive success or whatever should come your way, I would rather not have that and know that when my time is up, my number is called, that I treated people well.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to talents and skills like that, I think a craft is for the purpose of serving. So it's okay. I'm quite obsessive over my craft in the dark. Like I don't like to put out the idea that I'm better than I am. I just like to be as absolute good as I can because I know I get to serve the story.
Mm-hmm.
I get to serve the song if I'm doing music. I get to serve the moment right here with you.
Mm-hmm.
But if I lose my soul, I've lost everything. I'd rather have less talent and a better heart
Mm-hmm.
than. But then, of course, when craft comes into play, you know, what would it look like to use that for good? Even if you're telling all kinds of different stories. And I think it's easy. My heart has no malice toward anyone in this regard. On the other side, it's hard. Especially for, you know, for young women who are told your body needs to be a certain way, or for young men, you need to look a certain way, you need to be a certain height, you need to be a certain level of jacked, your jawline needs to be this or that. There's so much, and we all smile through it and act like it's not there.
Oh, for sure.
And so for me, it's not, no, the best version of you is the best version of you. I could never pull it off. And that's my heart. That's ultimately what attracted me to storytelling and music. And then I do also have a fitness business that I've had for a little over a decade. Helping people break through, that to me is everything. And it just breaks my heart seeing, you know, identity and worth being put into things of just the world. And it will ultimately let you down, is my belief. It has let me down if I lean on that. And so it gives me incredible purpose to just kind of go against the fray.
Yeah.
And be more humble.
Mm-hmm.
Acting, music, whatever, if you're in front of a camera, even behind a camera, it does take a very large amount of confidence. But for me, I don't put my confidence in how great I am.
Mm-hmm.
I put it in who I believe I was made to be. And I just do the best I can to serve others. And honestly, something I'm still learning. If I just focus on that, the rest kind of takes care of itself. I don't have to push really hard for you to see me. And then I just kind of get to serve in the moment. And if I'm seen, great. If I'm not, great.
Mm-hmm.
But that's so hard. It's so hard with social media and everything else, where it's all about, you know, we can think a lot about what people think about us. And Anyway, I'll get to talking,
For sure.
and we'll be here for 7 hours.
No, but it's so true. It's almost like I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are in your brain like a vessel who is here to serve and make people feel good. And would you say that that's kind of your approach when you're on set with people? You and I haven't been able to work together yet on a show, but
we will.
We will. Hopefully.
So.
Yes. Knock on wood.
Whole thing just falls down.
Yeah.
Great. You guys have a great day.
Yeah.
I'll see you.
Bye, guys.
Love working for you, ReelShort.
Exactly.
We had a good run.
But this industry's crazy, and especially the vertical industry where it's so quick. You do show after show after show after show, and a lot can happen. And some people have different egos on set. And would you say that you approach your character and your own personality when you're on set with these values as well?
Yes, absolutely. It all has to start. The best place to start from is human. Everything I'm saying might even just sound a little pretty, but I'm also very human. I feel everything. I feel.
Are you Pisces or Cancer?
I just am learning about all this stuff. So I am such a Padawan.
What's your sign? What's your birthday? What's your month?
Taurus. I'm a Taurus.
A Taurus. Oh, he's a chill baby.
What does this mean?
It's good. It's the good vibes. We love Taurus energy here.
One of our wardrobe, Cat Tabasco. Round of applause for Cat Tabasco. I hope you see this. If you don't, I'm talking about New York. She gave me the whole rundown of you're a Taurus with this moon.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And I'm like,
we want to know your chart.
Cool. So
yeah.
I get to service kind of second. First, I recognize that I'm at the end of the day, I'm just a man. I'm just a fella.
Yeah.
And it slows me down a little bit first, because I love acting so much. And I think if anyone has worked with me, they know I can get quite passionate and really to the point where I have to be careful, because I'll ask ReelShort, can I change this line? Can I blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
To the point that I'm doing it all the time. And it's not, and my demeanor is probably very much like this, because I'm trying to be so soft and gentle, because I'm not trying to throw a grenade on things. My brain sees, okay, what if he's thinking about it this way? And so at the core level, he's this and that. And man, I know what that feels like. And so I'll slap that layer on my face, even if we're talking about food or something else. And to get to that human place, I have to kind of acknowledge my darkness, my shortcomings, my bullshit. Then I move forward. Then service comes next. Then it's like, okay, let me focus on the scene partner. Let me focus on this and that. If there's intimacy scenes, I take that stuff very seriously. I want the woman I'm working with to feel so safe.
Mm-hmm.
I have no agenda.
We love that.
There's nothing in me that is trying to extrapolate or pull from. I'm choosing not to enjoy you. There's no part of me that's monitoring, I'll let myself enjoy her a little bit. No, I'm actually choosing not to enjoy you physically. Okay? I want you to feel completely safe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's just something I hold near and dear.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but these are all human things I think about.
Right.
So that the way the craft and the story can live, and I really want the people I work with to feel respected, and I want to make the best story possible.
Mm-hmm. Well,
even if it's crazy and we're slapping everybody. You know what
I mean? Right. Well, you seem to have a really good approach to kind of each area of being an actor, as far as your set etiquette, how you're treating your scene partner and everything. So what actually got you into acting from the beginning?
That's a great question. Storytelling from a very young age. I grew up I was 3 years old, just a little nugget.
Oh.
And I remember snowing outside, it's Christmas, Indiana. And I remember I found Superman, which is my all-time favorite character. And I just remember watching this story as a little kid, and then that and Lion King. I remember those two.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching this character fly around in tights and just, but for some reason, I was so deeply moved by a story about something quite, ethereal, and I was so affected by how storytelling could move a spirit, move a soul. And here I am, a 30-year-old man. If you didn't know my age, I'm 30. I get questions all the time in my DMs. How old are you?
I know. I get it. Trust me, I know.
It's fine.
It's like, have a guess.
Right.
What do you think?
Very 90s baby. And I just remember being so deeply moved by storytelling, specifically in Superman, and how I was walking away feeling so inspired. And his acting was great. The craft is a vessel.
Mm-hmm.
I think acting is not the most important thing. I think the most important thing is the story.
Mm-hmm.
Story is king. Everything we do, from the set dressing to the makeup choices, to the acting, to the lighting, to all of it is in servitude to the story. And as a little squirt, I just caught that and I was so affected. And then same thing with music. I just remember, wait a minute, there's this language out there that somehow we all speak, even if it's just instrumental, that moves us. If you speak Swahili, do you speak Swahili?
I wish.
Beautiful language. It's a great song called Baba Yetu. I used to conduct choir.
Oh.
Yeah. And
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I show you a video, yeah.
Wait, that's incredible. We should put you in a
Orchestra.
professor role.
Yeah. And there's a great song called Baba Yetu. It's the Lord's Prayer in Swahili. But it's this beautiful thing about humanity. But if you speak Swahili and I speak English, it's difficult for us to communicate. Music, storytelling, breaks the mold in a way that has always struck me. And that's kind of where the obsession started as a little kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact that it can inspire from just nothing, that's a magic that I'm still trying to figure it out.
When you were a kid, were you the type that, I feel like this is me kind of judging, but were you like a sport guy? Like, did you do sports or were you theater boy?
No.
Or was that there in Indiana? Like that type of
course it was.
Culture for the boys?
No, I was very overweight as a kid.
Okay.
If I can share a little bit more about that.
Yeah. This is you, baby.
I can be aggressively long-winded. You should meet Bob Stafford. You should meet my dad.
Is he a talker?
Oh, I get it from him.
Oh my gosh, bring in Bob.
The only difference between he and I is I'm aware of it.
Okay, yeah. Well, boomers.
I love you, Dad.
Our parents don't get it. I feel like.
I remember when I was in high school, my best friend's Nick Anderson asked my dad. We were having a sleepover. He wakes up. He asked my dad. So how's work going? 6 hours.
Still
pass.
Talking.
6 hours pass, and Dad is somehow telling him about his childhood.
Poor guy. He's like.
All he asked was how work was.
Like I'm starving.
Anyway, so I get it from him. But no, my start, I did do sports. I did all of that. And the reason I got into fitness probably comes from this little story I'm about to tell you. When I was coming out of childhood into kind of my preteen years, I got to be about 60 pounds overweight.
Okay.
And I was bullied for it. I remember sitting in English class. This started my journey in the arts. And it launched me into sports and fitness. It kind of was a catalyst, which is why I'm probably good to share. And I hope it brings some of you hope, okay? Because this life can look very pretty.
Oh my gosh, for sure. And it's so not.
And that's just not. I mean, we're talking about, I was struggling with bulimia. I was trying to lose this excess weight. I remember sitting in middle school and there was a girl, I won't say her name because I hope she's doing well. This was also like 20 years ago. Sitting behind me. And she says, Mrs. Fisher, I can't see the board because Luke is sitting in front of me. And we had a dress code and I was really insecure. It's funny, my characters tend to wear the 3 buttons down.
Yeah.
Back then, when I was in middle school, I had to wear 3 buttons down because I was gaining so much fat. And I was really insecure about it. We had a dress code in our school, so we had to wear button-ups and collars and stuff. And I remember she sat behind me and she said, Mrs. Fisher, I can't see the board because Luke is sitting in front of me. Everyone laughs. It's right out of a movie. And I had just auditioned for my first musical.
Aww.
And I was so scared. Secretly, I kind of felt like I might have had something. And my best friend at the time was this incredible singer. Incredible singer. This all happened within like the same week, mind you. Or the same month, I can't quite remember. And for the audition, we had to sing in front of everybody. And my best friend, who was such a great singer.
I'm already feeling you.
He had never heard me sing, and I was so scared that I just yelled the notes. It was the line was spinach and tomatoes from Oklahoma. That's all I had to sing. I was so scared that I yelled it. Everyone laughs. And someone came up to me and told me, hey, you're tone deaf. And then I go to Mrs. Fisher's class. I'm told I'm fat. And then I'm sitting there. I remember I was trying not to cry. And then she goes on and she says, wow, Luke, your hips are bigger than mine. And so then I was bulimic and I lost 70 pounds in the next 3 months.
From bulimia?
Yeah. Well, it started me just trying to figure out how to do fitness.
So you were working out at the same time?
I was just
You were
doing
trying to do
push-ups, running.
anything.
I'm just a kid. I'm just a
Oh my
child.
God, fuck.
So all that kind of happened at once. Ironically, my brother played saxophone and I had watched the marching band and all this stuff. So I went over to the office next door, went to the band office and grabbed a saxophone. And I got really good at the sax. Really, really good at the sax. And saxophone became, at one point in my life, I was a professional saxophonist.
Oh.
Yeah, fun fact.
Yeah, a lot of facts. Fun
Yeah,
facts.
it's been a very, very crazy full 30 years.
Yeah.
But it's been interesting because in the very beginning, from age 3, the dream was, and there was these early percolations of acting, singing, songwriting, entrepreneurship that were so heavy on my heart in such an early stage. And my life has been this beautiful journey of pain that has led me back to that core starting place, which has been really beautiful.
Yeah.
So these are just a couple stories of that.
Yeah.
But I cracked, I lost that weight. And then when I started eating again, I gained it all back.
Sure.
And then I had to get into, and I learned how to do it properly. And then I started my fitness business when I was in college. And I still have it. Now it's entirely online. And
yeah.
So I can give all my first fruits to my clients, but also my acting and my singing. So yeah, that's how it started.
Yeah.
And then I remember I was a worship leader at a very charismatic African-American church. And that's where I had to learn. I played piano. That's where I finally got to kind of explore those gifts and talents. And then I was still in college and I thought, I'm going to do a theater minor. Like when something is in you, you got to listen, right? Like you have to listen. If something is in you, I don't mean to preach, but if something is in you, you have to follow that still voice that's in the silence. And as much as I tried shoving the acting and the music and all that away, I wanted to do it if no one was watching. So then that turned into studying voice a little bit in college, doing the music worship thing. And then I remember right after college, I ended up booking a job on Broadway. And the
New York? Broadway?
New York Broadway.
Oh, what was the play?
It was a Christmas musical called Home for the Holidays. And I had to play saxophone on stage.
Oh.
And since I had that unique skill and the director and I had a relationship, he hired me for that. But I remember he also hired me. This is very interesting. And I promise there's a last arcing story I'd like to share. Because it all shows how I ended up bending my way back to what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
Because it was there at 3, now it's here at 30. I remember booking that job on Broadway. And he hired me to play saxophone and be on stage. And this really cool role as one of the musicians. It was great. It was a very humbling experience. I'm always going to be grateful for. And I remember he also hired me to sing backup. And I remember I had shoved this thing down so far since I was in middle school to then that when I sang for the first time, it overwhelmed me. I could hear my voice in the monitor on this Broadway stage. And I cried and walked off stage. And it really affected me. And ironically, I had just gone homeless in New York. This sounds almost fabricated, but I promise it's the truth. I was trying to pay down my college debt, so I was staying with a host. And she had something come up personally and said, I need you out by tomorrow morning.
Oh, bye.
So I was actually sleeping on the F train. Because I was a 22, 23-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I could have asked for help, I'm sure. But I didn't want my colleagues, I didn't want the people I worked with on Broadway. I didn't want to attach any drama to my name.
Yeah.
Because I was so worried about what people thought of me. And so I remember I was homeless that night. I had a dream. And in that dream, I remember God was there. I remember I was backstage with my saxophone and my vocal mic. And I saw this dude walk out in this dream. And there's this crowd of all these different people, different ethnicities, and I could just see him pouring his heart out. He turns around to me. I wake up. And that moment, while it sounds quite spiritual, I wake up, I'm on the bench. I have to get ready to go to the theater. And I knew it was I've got to go after this thing. I've got to give it everything I got. And so from that journey from 6th grade to then is what led me from what I initially wanted to do to finally giving it everything I got. And then I came back to LA after New York, worked on my voice and my acting for a year in the silence, conducted choir, had my fitness business. And then I started working on my craft, and now we're here. So
Wow.
anyway, that's a bit of my story. I apologize if I've talked too much.
No, not at all. I want to ask you something only if you're comfortable
Sure.
discussing it. I also, as a female in the entertainment industry and just, for male, female, whatever your gender is, it's hard. And I also experienced a spat of bulimia. And I kind of, if you're open to it, I feel like we don't hear a lot of guys talk about having eating disorders and being uncomfortable with their bodies. And it's kind of like, for women, we're more so able to talk about that. It's more accepted. I just want to know, as a man, if you have any words of advice, or just like if there's some guys who are watching this that might feel the same way, like what you would say to them on how to come out of that or how to look at yourself differently.
Kingship is not found by beating yourself up and hiding in the shadows. I'm saying this as a learner, not by someone who seems to saying I have all the answers. But masculinity is very deep and dear to my heart. And a lot of times on the masculine journey, the hero's journey, every man wants to grow up one day to gain some sense of dominion in the form of respect. Every man wants to capture the beauty, regardless of your sexual orientation or whatever it may be. Every man longs for that, to be seen and to be respected. But I think at the core level, to know that he's earned it. And my encouragement, just from failing so many times, is to not hide in the shadows. One of the best parts about the masculine journey is to be known. Whatever you hide in the shadows owns you. Whatever you hide rules you. So to be able to talk about it, to be able to pursue a better version of yourself will also help you detach from the parts of you that are so uniquely tied to what people think about you or whatever your vice might be. So my humble advice, humble opinion is for the masculine journey when it comes to, for me, it was obviously bulimia or whatever. If you're struggling with that or whatever else it is, hiding it is not the answer. It's just not, because it perpetuates, it grows. Whatever you hide in the dark gains steam, gains momentum. And for the masculine journey, if I could pin it, it would be, it feels more masculine to not talk about it, to hide about it. There's something about a man who knows his strength and doesn't need to prove it. And because it paves the way for things like kindness, like empathy, like stillness and servitude. I think the best version of man is a servant. I do have some old school beliefs. I think men were crafted to, like in a marriage, my job in a marriage is to die for her. My job is physically, sure, of course, but also like I am to serve her. A man at his best is like that. He has strength, but doesn't need to prove it. Because the reality is, we all see it, right? We all know it's a little cringy if someone comes in talking about how great they are.
Yeah.
It subconsciously, I think, comes off a little more insecure, right?
Yeah, it's like, what are you trying to prove? Like, we get it, / we don't need you to list your accolades.
Versus when you get to a state of serving without being result reliant, happiness is result reliant. Happiness is, and I hope this is answering your question thoroughly, but they all tie uniquely to masculinity, in my humble opinion. And I'm still working on it. I'm going to be working on it till the day I draw my last breath.
Yeah.
Happiness is the lawn got mowed and it looks great. Joy is I'm mowing the lawn and I love it. Right? And so a man who's steadfast and is strong, real strength is far more about being reliable, owning your difficulties, owning your emotions, owning your things. It's why men, I think, often experience love the most in the form of respect. Because when you respect me, it means I've earned it. I'm really getting into the weeds, I know. I hope I don't make anybody upset. But I think that's why men oftentimes experience love the most in the form of respect.
Right.
Right? So those would be my examples of really strong men, really great men. You know, and then I was very fortunate to have a lot and still have a lot of great examples. My father, my dad, my middle name is Charles, which I carry because my grandpa, his name was Charlie. I have mentors in my life, Eric Waterbury, Mike Thigpen. They've been with me for such a long time. I make a point because it keeps me in the current state I am while the fan base is growing, while, things that would be tempting, or would cause me to sacrifice or maybe make some choices that would be, detrimental.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause in the day, it's really not about me.
Mm-hmm.
It brings me so much more joy I love my life if I know I'm serving others. And I do think a lot of that does go back to the past that we just talked about.
Right, right. So would you say then, to kind of like put a bow in it, it's for you, a sense of community is really important to have?
It is, absolutely. But you got to be careful because you want to make sure that you're not community for community's sake. It's better. And this took me all 30 years to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very extroverted. Shocker. It used to be about, I remember I used to lead these music nights on the beach here in LA. We'd have 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have these steak and wine nights at my house with my roommates. And I was quite distracted from pursuing the arts for a couple years. And I had to learn a very hard lesson. I had all these beautiful people around me, amazing people, blah, blah. And then I went through a little bit of a scandal. My reputation, a few rumors flew around.
Mm-hmm.
99% of those people disappeared. All these people who said, "Oh, we love you, Luke," and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying that, I'm not upset at them. I honestly hope they're all doing well. I wish them all so well. It has nothing to do with them. It was about me learning. I remember going to therapy. Great man, David Pack, great therapist. And he told me, I said, my heart is hurting, man. Like, I want people to know that that's not who I am, but I can't say anything. And he said something to me, talking about masculinity, he said something to me I'll never forget. And here I am living in it. It took me about a year to unpack it. He said, he had me write down everything I wanted everyone to see about me. Everything. I mean, as silly as it got, all the way down to the fingernails, like whatever it was. And I wrote it all down. It's very vulnerable. And he goes, what if you knew it and God knew it? And that was enough. And I don't know, for some reason, that might not be a one size fit all, but it felt like a big part of my own masculine journey just went. So then I started focusing on, because the answer is yes to community, but having the right people the closest to me, right? So when I walk away from that person, my heart is more full. That type of community. You know what I mean?
It's like weed out the ones that aren't actually going to be there for you, kind of.
And then knowing the difference between that and like your friends that are like friends that are like, you give room for it to grow, but it's like a relationship is grown. It's not, you don't just, you know what I mean? So it's knowing who is so near and dear to me that it serves me the best and we serve each other versus.
And the different levels of friendships too.
Exactly.
Which is there's so many. There's some that you have your party friends, your out to dinner friends, your actor colleague friends, your musician friends, and then you're like people that you go to when you're like sobbing on the phone.
100%. If you all those friends you have, if you roll into a ditch in your car, you're only calling one or two people.
It's true. If there's one emergency contact.
Yes.
Kind of,
Right. And so giving those other relationships too, give them the room to grow, see what it can be. But then when you spot the real deal, serve. Make that,
Right,
I have a buddy I live with named Matt, who's just like that. Like he makes me a better man.
Oh, I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't have anything. It's just like I get to chill. We can sit in silence and I'm good. Those kinds of friends you gotta, so when you forgive someone, you release them. So when you forgive someone, it's not saying, hey, that was okay. Because I've also done wrong things. I've hurt people. My God, let's not get it twisted. But by forgiving them, I've gained two things. One, I've released the hold it's had on me and it's made me kind of who I am today and who I'm still pursuing. My hero is still in the future. I'm trying to be him, like McConaughey says. And he does say it all the time, I realize. That's where I got it, I'm sure. But like, I also hope that that person is well. I hope that they healed from whatever it was, and I hope they're doing well. That might be a hot take.
Well,
But
I have a question for you. So I've heard and tried also and accomplished a little bit of this when there's something traumatic and horrible in your life that happens. Someone does something bad to you, and then you have to do the work to like let it go and forgive. Not necessarily like you're okay, like I'm okay with you, but it's like forgive it so that it's more for yourself to benefit off that, because then you really, it's not clouding your thought process and your journey through life. And it's hard to do, especially with something like of this level too. It's how do you work up to that? Because it seems sometimes impossible if you're like, this person did this to me, like I fucking hate them, I can't forgive them. How do you do that?
I think it's first recognizing the part that's hurting within you, and it takes time. Let's just talk about that. This is not going to be done overnight, right? It took me, I think, 10 years to get to a place. I was about 23 when I was able to like fully move to a place of, and it's amazing how it makes you almost better. You don't want those things to happen to you, but they can be part of your journey of transformation to better. It's interesting. But for me, it was getting to a place of understanding that I also have darkness in my heart. You know, I can do bad things. I can this and that. And getting to a place of whatever it was that led that person to do that. Because there's things I want to do or am tempted to do or have done that have caused harm, and recognizing that in me, you know, there's a really great verse somewhere that talks about like the person who's done no wrong throw the first stone. It's basically just saying like, you know, look into yourself before you start judging other people. And so for me, that was huge. Recognizing like, dude, I've got my shit. Okay, I've done wrong things. And then moving on from that to wanting freedom enough to where you can forgive the person. That was what it was for me. And then you kind of start to see the heart of the other person. And also, let me be very clear. That doesn't mean you then go pursue a relationship with that person. That doesn't mean you invite them back in your life necessarily. You don't have to be best friends or friends at all with that person, you know? But then you're able to kind of release that person. It just takes the opportunity of looking at yourself and recognizing how human you also are, while also not excusing it, which is an interesting place to be. Does that kind of make sense?
Definitely. You also mentioned that you go to therapy. Do you currently go? Are you, or like, what's your, just a quick little snippet on that? Because I feel like also with some of our male followers, again, something that isn't the most popular thing within, you know, the masculine, quote unquote, how media perceives it is to like go to therapy. So you've experienced therapy, 100%. You've liked it?
Absolutely. No, I think it's good to know if we need therapy or don't, because sometimes there is a time where a man just needs to be told, hey, brother, you got this. Sometimes it's as simple as that, and we don't need to go blow a bunch of money for therapy. But it's just true, because I sometimes see that as well. Sometimes it's I like to smoke cigars. Sometimes it's a cigar with one of your best fellas who truly pours into you, and you just need a chance to express it. Sometimes it's, but if you don't have that, then therapy is also still a good idea. But if you have something that's eating away at your soul and it's yanking you out of yourself and out of the world around you and is causing you to see yourself in such a dark way, therapy is a wonderful thing. And I've utilized it throughout my whole life. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that.
Has it helped you with acting?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I feel like, for sure.
Holy
it helps
shit.
you get there.
Oh, yeah. All this stuff we're talking about is just palette. It's tools to use when it comes to, I had a character, actually in this movie, he loses the girl. And I remember telling Roku, our director, like, what if, see, I love it so much. What if everything about this moment is about his shame towards himself? He's really not feeling so much loss towards the woman. The woman is losing the love of his life is a reflection on the piece of shit he thinks he is. What if it, and so it changed the tonality and color of how that scene came out. I then, for crying, especially crying on command, there's a few ways to go about that. But for me, I always think about my dad, and I think about some of the words he's told me. Remember the first time he told me I was a man. I fixate on that. I think about my father passing one day, and then I lean into that. There's a method called the Ivana Chebuk method. This is very near and dear to that. Then I focus on something that today is making me feel exactly what my character is feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just kind of pours right out.
Mm-hmm.
Tears just flow. I've got that thing with my dad that makes me emotional, but then I'm focusing on the areas of my life where I do feel like I'm a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time action is called, it's like something about the tonality fits his situation, even though I'm not in his situation in real life.
Mm-hmm. It's like the lizard brain foundation where you put your deep-seated emotional thing back there, and then I'm a piece of shit today, like my bike's not working, or like I feel ugly, or whatever it is that you're going through, and then it just like I think we have a fun emoji quiz for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to have you read the emojis one by one and then guess the title. And the hint is that you've starred in all these shows.
Okay.
So
the first one is a crown,
okay.
airplane, explosion, and a ring. I know this one. The Runaway Princess Bride is my guess for this first one.
You're inaccurate.
No.
It's not right.
No, a crown? Can I guess again?
Yeah.
Heiress Crash Landing, that one. Heiress Crash Landing for a...
I know, that's the thing, you can't remember
Heiress
the title.
Crash lands for a fella she wants to marry.
Close. Heiress Crash lands on her husband.
Okay, so we've got a heart with an arrow.
I'll give you a hint, okay?
Married in a Heartbeat.
Yes! Got him.
With Miss Haley Lorelei.
Oh!
Incredible. She was incredible.
Oh, this one you'll know in a second.
Fried chicken flash marriage.
When I saw it on ReelShort.
Let's just talk about it.
Can we dive into this one? What the heck?
So I told them, I really loved the story, and obviously I read the title, and you know, I just said it. Hey guys, is this the final title? Or
yeah.
Is this... And someone said, someone goes, no, I think it's a working title. And I leaned over and I said, you're not gonna change the title, are you? And then they didn't change the title. It was Fried Chicken Flash Marriage. Next one, You've Got Mail.
No.
No? The masks?
It's not. I would not get this at all.
I'm pregnant, let's break up.
No. Okay, what do people think of actors?
Dramatic.
Close, but like it's like a negative connotation towards us. Like
fake it till you love me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just give it to you though. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Okay, the next one
Accidental
is
surrogate for the album.
There it is. I couldn't say that when I was introducing you. The next one. Oh, this one you'll get, I think.
Runaway Princess Bride.
Yep. I think you'll get the next one too.
You've Got Mail.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of mail emojis.
So you've done a ton of different types of characters here at ReelShort, which is super fun. So what's next for you?
Well, I'm very, very pleased to share that my last song, Just a Little, just came out. We're getting ready to shoot the music video for that, which I actually don't think I've announced this on my socials yet, but this music video narrative is a sequel to my last song that came out called Still Missing You. So it will follow in that universe, that same storyline. Go watch Still Missing You because you'll see exactly what we're saying. So I'm very excited to shoot that, get that out. So that's next for me in the ReelShort world. I'm really excited about all the movies that we're about to do. We have a few lined up. And then speaking of, I have one that's about to come out right here.
Oh my gosh.
Called Let's Pregnant. No, I'm kidding.
Let's Pregnant.
Let's Pregnant. Well, I'm wrong. I'm Pregnant, Let's Break Up. And we shot that in New York. It was the last one I did in 2024. And that one just, if I can share this really quick, it was so cool. I've always dreamt of, you know that classic scene where you're like, you run after the girl in a pea coat and you're like, taxi, taxi.
Yeah.
I've always dreamt of doing that. Always. And I got to do exactly that. And so I told the director and the producer, I was like, this is a childhood dream that's happening.
Wait, so was it like the taxi's chasing the girl, trying to get her because she's leaving?
And I run out after her. It's like everything we've ever dreamt of, right? It's like I run out. Pea coat is flapping in the New York wind.
I love that it's a pea coat. What color was it?
Brownstone. It was brown pea coat.
Nice, yeah.
He runs out. Taxi! Gets in the taxi, goes after the girl. And that was a dream come true. So that's in the movie that's about to come out.
Oh, it's exciting.
I'm very excited about it.
And I'm sure your fans are going to love that one.
I hope you do. I hope you do. I had a great pleasure of making it. And Miss Illyriana was the lead actress. She was just spectacular. Anyway.
How do your fans react to your work?
That's a very humbling question. I've never gotten the fan mail I've ever gotten that I've been getting. I mean, immediately it kind of makes me, because it's so humbling, the things that people say. And so if you're watching, thank you. I'm deeply, every time I get a chance to kind of look through my messages, and I don't come from all this, you know, I come from such a small town and place, and I already shared why I do it. And so all the words about the movies, I hear a lot of comments about my acting ability, which is so humbly received, because I just am working on that.
Yeah.
It's slaving away. And then my songs and my singing, and I get just some of the kindest, sweetest comments every single day. And it genuinely, it motivates me to it makes me feel like, damn, maybe this is making a difference. You know?
Yeah, like it's working.
Yeah. And it's inspiring people and helping people. And that's the prayer. That's the hope. So I'm very humbled by that.
Can you give them a little insight about what they have to look forward to with some of your shows coming up?
Everything in each character, I said yes to each one because there was a golden nugget to me in the story where the character had to overcome incredible odds. And I would say, I feel like I'm always looking for the human stuff that I know I have dealt with before I say yes, even if it's in a scenario I've never been in. And so in these next ones, if you felt that you've faced impossible odds, then these next handful of projects with ReelShort, I think, is going to be great for you.
Impossible odds.
Yeah.
I love
Whether
that.
it's love or career or whatever it is for the character, it's how in the world do we move past this? And love finds a way. So
ooh, saucy.
Saucy. And it is very spicy. Yes.
This has been so amazing having you. Do you have anything else you want to say to your fans?
I know I've used the word humbled a lot, but it's just very true to how I feel in my core. I'm so humbled that there is anyone who likes what I do and makes it a part of their daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly life. It's very humbling. And so I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here, for watching these films, watching me act, watching us together. To me, this is what it's all about. This is really what it's all about. Hanging out with you is the only thing in this moment I want. And so to each and every one of you, thank you. I'm deeply humbled and I'm honored to be here.